So you're originally from Minnesota, right?
Yep, born and raised.
Big time deal, Minnesota. That Fargo is a crazy movie, wasn't it?
That was North Dakota.
You're right. You're right. Minnesota, you got the Yoopers.
No, that would be Michigan. Upper Peninsula, UP, Yooper.
Oh, yeah. You ever meet Prince?
No.
There are two kinds of people in this world. Those who love Old Bay, and those who've never tried it. Because once you taste this Chesapeake Bay seasoning, you'll immediately be turned into a canvert. Old Bay goes great on seafood, chicken, corn on the cob, French fries, pretty much anything. Join the Legion of Canverts in America. Pick up a can today. And before you know it, this could be you. Old Bay, the can that connects us.
Up the middle and a leadoff base hit. His first major league hit, and it starts the bottom of the ninth. Well, they get that ball and throw it back toward the Twins dugout, as they do. And congratulations to Joe Mauer. Fastball right back up the middle. And Joe Mauer with his first major league hit. And the 3-2 pitch, a swing to line drive, left center field. That's a base hit. That's towards the gap. Mauer's going to round. He's going to try for two. He slides. He's in with a double. A double for Joe. The number one visible from the Twins dugout. TC Bears doing it now. Another double for Joe, adding to his all-time Twins record of 428. And here comes Twins territory one last time. Double number 428, base hit 2,123. The next 2-2. Davis to left and will hit. Oh my! It's gone! Santa Maria!
From high atop the Robinson Gearing Studio Complex and straight out of God's country, Pawleys Island, South Carolina, the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network proudly presents Backwards K Pod. And now, here's the host of the show, Jake Robinson.
I never move in slow-mo. Welcome to my dojo. There's other parts of so-so and cute like fro-yo. Focus like a GoPro. Ripping up this promo. Check out the scoreboard. Breaks up the window. No, it's going, it's going, it's going. Yo, it's gone. You're hard to stop. Cause Jake got strong and mighty. Undefeated, I mean it. Pull up the box, pull it down, then read it. Written, produced, directed, and mixed. Dung on your lips and Ozzie Smith backflips. Pick a tip, any tip. Get on to it. I got ridiculous spots without forcing it. You sit at home crying like a girl while I spread the gospel around the world. Yo, the pots are written behind tracks that mixed it smooth with the groove to make ears wanna listen. Add a little gut and a rhythm to back it up. Another show to my name, now watch you stack them up. You think another way ran back, but this ain't no ad jack. My hobbies are rhymes, some people trying to be black, but that about time I come out, call the show. Being Peter, let me turn it out. Yo, name Jake the State, born in 71. Date, you know what time it is, I'm packing them guns. Yo, experience, I've been a witness to glory, and that's why I collect ball players and their stories. You heard? So, once again, back is the incredible, the pod animal, Jake the Snake Robinson from the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network. I'm coming out of Pawleys Island, South Kakalaki, half man, half podcast machine, back in the mother Captain Kirk chair, shields down, photons up. Prepare to engage on this week's digital audio program. that I call Backwards K-Pod, where we collect ball players and their stories. What's up, Seamans? What's cracking? Welcome back to the dojo for chapter 199 in historical, anthological, and biographical accounting of the players, characters, moments, managers, stadiums, and all the pop culture references that have shaped our perspective and knowledge about this beautiful tapestry of life we call baseball. I'm Jake Robinson. I got your hookup. Holler if you hear me. I'm joined as usual in the studio today with the chocolate tabby of tenaciousness, my main man, the number one stunner, little gunner, just me and the big guns today from beautiful Pawleys Island, South Carolina, chomping at the bit to get us down the tracks towards this week's baseball adventure. If I can get all of you stragglers hanging out on the Terrapin Station platform to kiss and hug your loved ones goodbye, I can get this train down the tracks to this week's baseball adventure. As I look to the west of Terrapin, I can see clearly into our immaculately manicured jewel box retro ball yard, down that left field foul line that magically disappears at home plate. Our hometown BKP9 have come bounding out of the dugout to take the field for tonight's contest. Our starting pitcher has gone through his progressions and completed his warm-up tosses. He looks sharp, ready to go. Our catcher has gone down to second base with the seed on the bag. The infield is now tossing that pill around the diamond with a little snap and swagger. And the home plate umpire has cleaned up the plate, raised his mask, and said those two magical words that rings out across ball fields around the world: play ball. As the visiting teams lead up stick saunters to the dish to get this game underway, that's my cue, as usual, to get this train down the tracks en route to this week's story. I'm calling all aboard, as I will have Gunner set our time and destination this week for April 19th, 1983, St. Paul, Minnesota, for the genesis backstory of this week's topic, Hall of Famer Joe Mauer. So, hurry, step right up. Get in where you fit in. Climb aboard our modern marvel of science and engineering. You can set up shop in one of our expansive lounges or retire to a private boxcar for our trip back to Minnesota in April of 1983, as Gunner has us picking up the necessary quantum speeds needed to crack 6.0 gigahertz of RF on our spectrum analyzer. He's creating vast, anomalous, traversable wormholes, tilting the celestial scales in our favor to get us back safely to our preferred time and destination. So, buckle up, Buttercup. We got more ground to cover than Kirby Puckett in center field at the Metrodome. As this week, we're going to dive into the deep waters and profile the baseball career of one Joe Mauer, who was, quite simply put, a stone-cold natural. And if there was ever a baseball player you could coin as a natural, it would be Joe Mauer. Everyone listening right now knows a natural. For example, my brother is a natural mathematical whiz kid. Ever since we were young, he can figure out complex equations off the top of his dome, while I gotta use my fingers and toes to figure out the most basic of math problems. Maybe you know the guy who had natural game and could pick up chicks without even trying. I mean, I hated those fucking guys. Or maybe it was a classmate who had natural charisma and everyone gravitated around him. Or, in Joe's case, the natural athlete that excelled in any sport he ever picked up. High school teammate Tony Lessman once said, once Joe figured out the concept of a new sport that he was learning, he became great at it. It was both amazing and annoying at the same time. One time we took him to a bowling alley. He had never bowled in his life, and he rolls a 265. I mean, he was simply amazing. In high school, Maurer was an all-star, all-state point guard in hoops, but it was football and basketball, or football and baseball, where he was a man among boys. And by the end of his senior year, he was a top-rated recruit nationally in both sports. The world was his oyster. After Maurer is drafted number 1 overall by his hometown Minnesota Twins in 2001, the lucrative guaranteed money that accompanies a number 1 pick in the baseball draft was enough to entice him to choose baseball over football. After 15 incredible seasons with the Twins, no one can find fault in his decision. During his career, he won an AL MVP award, 3 batting titles, 3 Gold Gloves, and 5 Silver Slugger awards, while appearing in 6 All-Star games. In 2024, Maurer was elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, in his first year of eligibility. A natural conclusion to an outstanding career what saw him become the only American League catcher to ever win a batting title, let alone 3. In his first 5 big league seasons, Maurer led the league in batting 3 times, while no catcher in either leagues has ever won more than 2 batting titles. For Maurer, it was the peak of a 9-year stretch before injuries forced him to play first base that saw him hailed as one of the game's finest all-round catchers in the game's history and put him on his path to Cooperstown. The homegrown son of the Twin Cities, Joe broke new ground on both sides of the dish. And here we are, nerds, as Gunner has us ripping through that last traversable wormhole to end up here in St. Paul, Minnesota, April 19th, 1983. Well, I'm sorry, I think that's April 15th, right? April 19th, 1983, where parents Donald Charles Jake Maurer and his wife Teresa have just welcomed the 3rd son into the world, one Joseph Patrick Maurer. Now, the father Jake was often referred to as Big Jake to help others differentiate him from his father, Grandpa Jake, and his eldest son, Joe's big brother, Little Jake. Big Jake made his living working for a company that specialized in making trophies, plaques, and sports ribbons. His mother, Teresa, was an outstanding prep athlete who worked as an office manager at a retail store that sold religious artifacts. The middle Maurer boy was named Billy. In his spare time, Big Jake would coach and develop his boys. As a part of his effort, he designed a hitting tool to help them sharpen their eyes and reflexes. He would drop these wiffle balls through a coffee can and into a series of PVC pipes, and the boys would use a skinny 32-inch steel pipe to swing at the plastic balls, helping them to develop quick, compact, straight-to-the-ball swings. Eventually, Big Jake would patent and trademark his invention and market it as the Maurer Quick Swing. Grandpa Jake also played a role in his grandson's athletics development. He lived with the Maurers, and he looked after the boys when Big Jake and Teresa were hard at work, and he would spend countless hours drilling the boys to hone their athletic skills. Joe enrolls and is accepted at the prestigious Creighton-Durham Hall High School in St. Paul. The Catholic school boasts one of the state's most outstanding sports programs. Some of their graduating alum before Joe included former collegiate football Heisman Trophy winner Chris Wenke and Hall of Fame baseball player Paul Molitor. Joe's sophomore year, he makes the Team USA Under-18 baseball team, and the buzz surrounding his play puts the baseball media on notice, and it begins to be mentioned as a prize baseball phenom prospect. A quarterback in football, Maurer is designated as QB1 for the Varsity Raiders football team as a junior. That year, he throws for over 2,400 yards, leads the team to a state championship. In his senior year, he threw for over 2,800 yards with 41 touchdowns, and he is the consensus top-rated high school prep football player in the nation. Football recruiting analyst Tom Lemming remembers, I had him as the top player on my board, and so did everyone else. He had major league size at 6'5". He had a great arm and outstanding football instincts. Maurer decides to follow in the footsteps of Chris Wenke, and he signs a letter of intent to play football for Coach Bobby Bowden at Florida State University. But that was before his senior year of baseball was yet to be played. The smooth-swinging left-handed catcher batted .625 that year. He smacked 14 home runs, and he drove in 48. In his 3 years as a Raider playing on the varsity baseball team, Joe strikes out only one time, and at one point, he had a home run in 7 consecutive games. Creighton-Durham wins the state baseball title in 2001, and Maurer is named the USA Today National Player of the Year in both football and baseball after his senior year. So, while Bobby Bowden is down in the Florida Panhandle, salivating at the mere thought of Maurer coming to Tallahassee and preserving a Seminoles football tradition, the Minnesota Twins pissed all over his dreams when they select the hometown stud with the first overall pick in the 2001 June MLB Amateur Draft. And for good measure, the hometown Twins attached a $5.15 million signing bonus to his contract, and Coach Bowden would have to pivot and find another gunslinger to throw passes to Anquan Bolton and Javon Walker. The whole experience was like a fun-filled fairy tale for Joe, who would tell the local newspapers, I couldn't have asked for anything better. One day later, the Twins drafted his brother Jake in the 23rd round as a second baseman out of the University of St. Thomas. And Twins GM Terry Ryan insisted that Jake was taken on his own merit, saying, he's a good-looking hitter. Now, Jake would go on to become a utility man. He would reach AA ball before his career ends in 2005. Subsequently, the middle brother, Bill Maurer, was a pitcher from Concordia University, and he signed by the Twins as a free agent in 2002, and he has a minor league career that runs from 2003 to 2005. Joe and his big brother Jake, they head out to Elizabethton, Tennessee, to cut their teeth in the Appalachian Rookie League, and Joe recognizes immediately the difference between professional pitchers and high school hurlers. He tells the Minnesota writers all clamoring around his locker for a soundbite that these pitchers up here, they throw hard. They know where they're throwing. The guy who had only struck out once in his high school career tried to temper the hype surrounding him, acknowledging, I'm definitely going to strike out some on this level. That is by far the best pitching I've ever faced in my life. But the understated and humble prodigy adapts to professional pitching just fine. In the short season rookie league, he hits 400 in 110 at-bats, and he continues to rake as he makes his ascent through the farm. Playing for Quad City in Iowa of the Class A Midwest League, he gets off to a slow start on the first 3 weeks of the season, and he finds his batting average at a paltry 126. But by mid-June, Maurer begins to cook, hitting shots all over the field, and his average rockets up to 314. The pragmatic and poised catcher has a simple philosophy he adheres to when it comes to hitting a baseball. Everybody is going to have slumps from time to time in baseball, but the key is how you handle adversity. Quad City manager Jeff Carter sat in awe of his young protege and noted that Joe did all the right things, and he showed amazing character to get out of his funk quickly. He never lets a struggle break him. He knows he can hit the ball, so he just kept working at it. Maurer finishes his single-A season with the .302 batting average. After scorching Class A Florida League pitchers with a .335 batting average, he gets promoted to the AA Eastern League New Britain Rockcats in Connecticut on June 15th, 2003. By now, he's playing like a veteran catcher well beyond his years, throwing out 16 of 34 would-be Steelers while committing just 3 errors in 60 games. And as he did with his batting, Joe was a consummate student of the game, and he worked on his defense with the same zeal that he put into his batting. He would always credit coaches Gary Lucas and Sugar Bear Floyd Rayford, a former pitcher and catcher respectively, for his growth behind the dish. I've learned so much from those two guys. Last year, I got a taste of the game. This year, I'm getting an education on how to become a professional baseball player. Maurer is rewarded for his hard work when he's named Minor League Player of the Year in 2003 by Baseball America, endearing him forever as a fan favorite in New Britain, Connecticut. So much so that 10 years later, while Joe was plowing through the majors and establishing a legacy, they put on a Joe Maurer bobblehead night at New Britain Stadium, and it generates some of the biggest crowds there in stadium history. After being as good as advertised in the minors, the Twins sent Joe on an invite to the 2004 spring training camp in Fort Myers. Now, since 1991, the Twins spring training headquarters has been located in Fort Myers, Florida, which is about 400 miles north, 643 kilometers of Tallahassee, in the college football crazy state of Florida. So, while the Minnesota sports writers are seeking sound bites and reactions to the kid's first training camp experience, Joe remembers how all the local Florida sports writers were giving him the business for snubbing the Seminoles football team that by now is beginning to decline from the golden age in their football history. On April 4, 2004, 2 weeks before his 21st birthday, the Twins announced that Joe Maurer was making the team as the starting catcher for the upcoming season. The Minneapolis Star-Tribune published a profile article entitled The Lock. And from day one, he had in admirer in Twins center fielder Torrey Hunter, who said, yeah, he's 20, but he's like 20 going on 40. To take those close pitches like he does, to throw out the runners the way he does, to call the game the way he does, and to do it all with personality and character, this kid is special. Hunter couldn't stop gushing and went on to note how the kid brought him a glass of water the other day. And I'm thinking to myself, what? A number one pick getting me a glass of water? Most of the guys in the Major League clubhouse have way too much ego for that shit. Too much testosterone to humble themselves that way. And I admired him. The moment I met him, there was just something refreshing and special about the kid. On April 5th, Maurer makes his Major League debut against the Cleveland Indians at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome. His now iconic number 7 adorning the back of his jersey, and he goes 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored in a 7-4 Minnesota win. So, Maurer has hit the ground running, doing what he has always done, and that's rake pitches all over the field. After all, the kid's a natural, but baseball can be a cruel summertime mystery sometimes. You know, she giveth and she taketh. And in the second game of his Major League career, Maurer shreds his MCL sliding behind home plate on the hard carpeted surfaces of the Metrodome, attempting to catch a foul ball. He will be removed from the game in the third after singling in his only at-bat of the contest. The next batter, Louis Rivas, singled to right field, and Joe is given the windmill by the third base coach to score on the hit, but he abruptly stops at third base and calls for manager Ron Gardenhauer and team trainer Jim Kamen to come out and check out the issue. He's taken out of the game. The young phenom gets surgery, returns to the Twins lineup in June. After grinding it out for 33 games in June and July, the pain is just too unbearable. He plays his last game of the 2004 season on July 15th. Although his rookie season was shortened, there was no denying the package of superior skills he carried in his arsenal. In 122 plate appearances, he hit 6 home runs, drove in 17, scored 16 runs, finished with a 308, 369, 570 slash line, and a 138 OPS plus, not to mention the 7 of 18 runners he gunned down trying to steal an extra base. Maurer makes a full recovery in the offseason and starts 110 games at the catcher's position for the 2005 season. He throws out 43% of would-be Steelers, 23 of 54. He bats .295, clubs 9 home runs with 55 ribs and 61 runs scored, and he sets a career high with 13 stolen bases. However, the Twins' 3-year reign as the kings of the AL Central, it comes to its bloody end as Minnesota finishes 16 games behind the eventual world champion Chicago White Sox. But the 2006 Twins season saw a thrilling down-to-the-wire race between the Twins, White Sox, and the Tigers. It was also the summer of tight batting title races between Maurer, Derek Jeter, and Robinson Cano of the Yankees. And both the batting title and the AL Central pennant would be decided on the very last day of the season. Maurer is white hot in May, batting .386, but he's absolutely out of his mind in June, going 42 for 93 and batting a robust .452 for the month. The Twins hosted the Los Angeles Dodgers for a 3-game set on June 26. In the first game, Maurer goes 4 for 5 with 5 RBIs and a Twins 8-7 win. The next day, he's even better, going 5 for 5 with an RBI and a 9-2 victory. Now, they would go on to sweep the Dodgers, part of an 11-game winning streak that stretched from June 22nd to July 3rd. By June 28th, Maurer's batting average stood tall at a ridiculous .392. He's selected to his first All-Star game as a reserve to back up Tigers backstop Ivan Rodriguez. Going into the final game of the season, Detroit and Minnesota had both posted identical records of 95 and 65, with Joe sporting a 346 BA, just percentage points ahead of Jeter, who holds a 345 average. The Twins choked the White Sox out of contention with a 5-1 victory. The Tigers lose a 12th inning heartbreaker to the Kansas City Royals 10-8, and Minnesota had regained the crown. In the win over the Southsiders, Joe goes 2 for 4. He raises his batting average to 347. New York, which had also wrapped up the ALS East crown weeks earlier, lost to the Toronto Blue Jays 7-5, with Jeter going 1 for 5 and watching his BA dip to 342, making Mauer the first catcher in American League history to win a batting title. Now, Joe was not your prototypical catcher of the new millennium. He didn't have the Mike Piazza, Javi Lopez, or Ivan Rodriguez-like power. He played foul line to foul line, and he would dot the outfield with line drives and hard smash grounders that found holes in the opposing defensive infields. Twins hitting coach Joe Vavra said it best after the Twins had punched their ticket to the postseason. He has such a graceful swing. His temperament is so calm, even in the most of adverse, pressurized situation. He remains a professional. He knew there was a lot at stake in every at-bat today, and he did what he did to lead us to a win and to a batting title. Teammate Mike Redmond summed up the whole Joe Mauer phenomenon, saying, even though some might say he's a try to hit more home runs, he needs to do this or do that, he's disciplined, and he always sticks to his approach. If you throw him away, he'll hit the ball on a line in the left field. If you try to come in with some nasty breaking pitches, he'll just shoot it back up the box and into center field. And just when you think it's safe to come in, he'll pull it, no problem. It's so fun to watch him play. No matter what the circumstances were in 2006, Mauer was on it like a bloodhound. He hit 348 in the day, 347 at night, 356 versus right-handers, 331 against southpaws. He had a modest 13 home runs, and he wins his first Silver Slugger award. The magic carpet ride for the Twins, it goes down in flames when the Oakland A's sweep the Twins in the ALDS 3-game series. Before spring training opens in 2007, the Twins wisely avoided arbitration from the young Jedi, and they inked him to a 4-year deal worth $33 million. The deal would turn out to be a bargain for Minnesota, even though a strained left quad will put him on the shelf for parts of the season. In 2008, he rebounds and he plays in 146 games. He logs in with a 5.6 WAR and another batting title with the 328 BA. He makes his second All-Star game, wins another Silver Slugger award, gathers his first Gold Glove award, and comes fourth in AL MVP voting. In 2009, he wins his third batting title with an impressive 365, 444, 587 slash, en route to being named the American League Most Valuable Player. He started the Midsummer Classic, and his fifth-inning double that chased Derek Jeter home was the catalyst behind an American League 4-3 victory over the NL All-Stars. His 444 OBP was tops in the league, as well as the 587 slug. He set career highs in home runs with 28 and 96 RBIs. In reflection of his amazing season, Joe says that making the majors was always my dream, and now to win an MVP is a feeling I can't really describe. As of 2026, Mauer's 365 average stands as the highest American League batting average in the last 21 years. With a groundbreaking performance, Mauer becomes the 5th player in Twins history to collect MVP hardware, joining Zoilo Versalles in 1965, Harmon Killebrew in 1969, Rod Carew in 1977, and Justin Morneau in 2006. The MVP would not be the only accolade young Mauer would receive in his 2009 season. He also won his 2nd Gold Glove, and he collected his 3rd Silver Slugger award. In the middle of Joe's incredible run through the 2009 season, Hall of Famer and St. Paul native Paul Molitor offered up his perspective on Mauer's importance to the team, saying, if you want to build your organization around a player who provides leadership, stability, and represents your club in the highest possible fashion, on and off the field, well, I don't know many guys that can match Joe. To have all those qualities and have that guy playing in his hometown when your franchise is preparing to go into a new ballpark and he's your cornerstone player, that's an amazing and rare thing. As late as mid-August, the 3rd place Twins were just 55-62. They trailed the 1st place Tigers by 6.5 games after losing the first game of a 4-game set versus the Texas Rangers. In the 2nd game, Mauer takes over. The Rangers took an early 5-0 lead when Mauer leads off the 4th inning with a solo shot. In the 6th, the Twins rally, score 4 runs to tie the game at 5. After Texas regained the lead in the bottom half of the 6th with a run, Mauer knotted the game up with another leadoff home run in the 7th. By the time Mauer had come to the dish for his 4th at-bat, the Twins now hold an 8-6 lead, and Mauer would single in the last Twins run to beat the Rangers 9-6. Now, that win on August 18th, it triggered a streak of 7 wins in 8 games, bringing the Twins' record up to 500 and moving them into a 2nd place position. A late season September charge included a stretch where the Twins win 11 to 12 games to pull within 2 games of the division leading Tigers. But with 4 games remaining on the schedule, the Twins find themselves trailing Detroit by 3 games. They would go on to sweep their final 4 games of the year, setting up a winner-take-all 1-game playoff game versus the Tigers for a Central Division supremacy. Minnesota would capture the pennant with a 6-5 victory over the Tigers. In the early frames, it didn't look too good for the Twinkies as they fell behind to the Tigers early, but the Twins came roaring back to tie the game and force extra innings before a walk-off single by Alexei Casillas secured the win for Minnesota. The jubilation of the moment was short-lived as the Yankees swept the Twins in a 3-game series in the first round ALDS. Even though Mauer was pretty good, he goes 5 for 12 in the series with a double. 2010 was a momentous one for the diehard Twins faithful. After 28 seasons of playing in the multi-purpose cookie-cutter Metrodome, the team moved into a brand-new baseball-only stadium. Target Field, the first open-air facility to be used in Minnesota since the 1981 season, when the Twins used to play out at Metropolitan Stadium. The new crib was a booming success, and it reinvigorated the fan base as they set franchise records with 3,233,640 fans chasing through the turnstiles. They would go on to capture yet another division pennant. This time, there was really no drama to it as the Twins started in September going 16-4 before cruising into the postseason. During the hot September streak, Joe James's left knee and misses 9 games. And for the season, he finishes with a .327 batting average, second on the team to Justin Morneau's .345. In the ALDS, the Twins again square up against the Bronx Bombers, and once again, the Yankees sweep Minnesota to the side in 3 games. Mauer's performance was a pedestrian, 3 for singles and 12 at-bats. During spring training camp 2001, Joe was rewarded with an 8-year, $184 million extension, making him the 4th highest paid player in the game at the time. And Mauer is all smiles after resigning with his hometown team, telling the Scribes, "I'm just thrilled to do this for the rest of my career. I told everyone I'm going to give you all that I got. My goal here is to win a World Series, and I look forward to doing just that." The extension had to feel like good timing, considering Joe goes under the knife in the offseason with arthroscopic surgery on his left knee. He spent part of spring training trying to rehab the aching joints, but a week into the regular season, the pain is excruciating, and he's diagnosed with a bilateral leg weakness. He would miss 2 months of the season, and he doesn't return until mid-June. When he does return, Mauer plays a few games at first base and designated hitter, splitting catching duties with Drew Butera and Rene Rivera, and his batting average dips to a career low, .287. Mauer bounces back from a substandard 2011 season with a vengeance. He finds a stroke, bats .319 with 10 home runs, 85 RBI, and leads the American League with its .416 OBP. On August 27, 2012, he plays in his 832 second game as a catcher, wearing Twins gear, surpassing the record of 831 games from Earl Beatty, a former Twins catcher from 1961 to 1967. On December 1st, 2012, Joe marries the former Madeline Bazance in a lavish ceremony attended by 600 families and friends. And Joe and Maddie were classmates at Creighton-Durham High School. The couple goes on to have 3 children. Twin daughters Emily and Marin were born in 2013, and their son Charles joined the family unit in 2018. Mauer has yet another productive season in 2013, batting .320 at the All-Star break with 8 home runs and 32 RBIs. The fans voted him a starting catcher for his 6th and final All-Star game. He goes 1 for 2 in the Midsummer Classic as his infield hit in the 5th inning factored into the AL, extending its lead in a game that they would eventually win 3-0. However, on August 19th in the game against the New York Mets, a foul tip ricochets off his mask, and the next day, Mauer experiences dizziness, was sent home with concussion symptoms. His condition doesn't improve, and he misses the rest of the season. After consulting with team physicians, the decision was made to move Mauer to first base in a permanent position change. And Joe takes the move in stride, telling reporters, "I think I'll be a lot more healthier these days. There have been times when I'm going to the plate after taking foul balls off my shoulders and knees, and I can't even feel my legs. I talked to Justin Morneau about it a little, since he was a catcher back in the day, and he said, you're going to be amazed at how much better you will feel. Over the next 3 years, Joe's average, it ranges from 261 to 277, while hitting a total of 25 home runs. In 2017, he regains a stroke and hits a more Mauer-like 305. The Twins finished second in the AL Central, 17 games off the pace set by the division-winning Indians, but still good enough to win a wild card berth. And as luck would have it, the Twins would once again face their playoff nemesis Yankees, and they would lose the one-game winner-take-all to New York 8-4. During Mauer's tenure with the Twins, their overall postseason record was 0-10. Mauer retired after the 2018 season. In 1,858 games, he batted .306 with 2,123 hits, 143 home runs, 923 RBI. His fielding percentage as a catcher was a sublime .985, and he threw out 181 of 545 would-be base stealers for a 33% clip. In 2015, Creighton Durham High School dedicated and christened their new athletic facility in Joe's name, calling it Joe Mauer Fieldhouse. The new setup has 3 full-size athletic courts, a 10,000 square foot fitness center, offices, and locker rooms. A plaque in the clubhouse reads that Joe and Maddie's philanthropy is reflective of their deeply held commitment to compassionate service and includes support for organizations dedicated to education, developmental disabilities, healthcare, and young athletes. Philanthropy. My God. In 2019, the Twins retire his number 7, making him the 8th player in franchise history to have his number retired, along with Killebrew, Carew, Tony Oliva, Kent Herbeck, Kirby Puckett, Jim Cott, and Bert Blyleven, along with Jackie Robinson's number 42, which has been retired throughout the league. In retirement, Joe has become a full-time father, but he continues to write chapters in his baseball diary, only now it's coaching his children's softball and baseball teams. In 2023, he jokingly quipped that he has been at the ballpark 5 straight days during the last week, a practice he swore was over for him. In August 2023, Mauer becomes the 38th member to be inducted into the Minnesota Twins Hall of Fame. He also kept himself busy with the Mauer Auto Group, a Chevrolet dealership he owns and operates with his brothers Jake and Billy. And he also wrote the foreword to a new children's book entitled The Right Thing to Do, The Joe Mauer Story. When Mauer was elected to the Hall in 2024, his class included Adrian Beltre, Todd Helton, and manager Jimmy Leland. Joe received 76.1% of the possible votes to earn inclusion into the Howland Halls in his first year of eligibility. He was the first player elected into the Hall who was drafted in the 21st century. In addition, Mauer joins Ken Griffey Jr., Harold Baines, Chipper Jones as former number 1 picks enshrined in the Hall. Justin Morneau, smiling from ear to ear, was heaping praises all over his boy during induction weekend, telling his friend, "It was truly an honor to watch you work. You were the best at your position, hands down. You were the best at what you did, and I was kind of tearing up watching on the podium today. Former A's pitcher Dallas Braden told reporters, that dude right there is about as storybook as it gets. From hometown hero to a living legend enshrined forever in baseball, glory, and immortality. In the last 50 years of Major League Baseball, only 4 catchers have been handed the starting position of catcher before their 21st birthday. Bob Didier, Johnny Bench, Butch Wynegar, and Ivan Rodriguez. That is until opening day back in 2005 in April, when a certain St. Paul, Minnesota prodigy was given the reins with the Twins, adding one for the thumb to the select group. Now, his career was shortened by amassing leg injuries and a concussion, but from the age of 20, he lowered his mask. He played the most demanding of baseball positions on the diamond with a totally different style of excellence that, quite frankly, we never saw before or since before his move to first base. Joe's strong Midwest roots and his dedication to the pursuit of perfection established him as one of the most respected players of his era. Known for his keen baseball instincts and exceptional skill set, he possessed both offensively and defensively. He was able to leave a lasting legacy, not only for his achievements on the field, but also for the positive impact he had on his community and his selfless dedication to giving back. And folks, I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up this week in our presentation of the Joe Mauer biopic. Another body dropped into our collection of ball players and their stories as I draw a big, beautiful backwards K next to Joe Mauer's name in our scorebook. As my little partner Gunner has a speeding of the tracks to get you all safely back to your loved ones and waiting your return to Terrapin Station, let's take one last look at those so impressive stats and accolades the great Joe Mauer left behind on his Hall of Fame resume. Okay. Joseph Patrick Mauer, born April 19th, 1983 in St. Paul, Minnesota. Attended Creighton-Durham High School in St. Paul, Minnesota. Was drafted by the Minnesota Twins with the first overall pick in the 2001 June MLB Amateur Draft. On April 5th, 2004, the 20-year-old Joe Mauer becomes the 20,352nd man in the history of the planet Earth to join the MLB fraternity when he makes his big league debut against the Cleveland Indians, going 2 for 3 in a 7-4 Twins win. 15-year Major League career, all with his hometown Minnesota Twins. 55.6 WAR, 1,858 games, 7,960 plate appearances, 2,123 hits, 1,018 runs scored, 428 doubles, 30 triples, 143 home runs, 52 stolen bases, 19 times caught, 939 strikeouts to 1,034 walks. 3,040 total bases, a career slash line of 306, 386, 439, an 827 OPS, and a 124 OPS plus. Six-time All-Star, 3 AL batting titles, 2006, 2008, and 2009. The only catcher in baseball history to ever win 3 batting titles. 5 Silver Slugger Awards, 3 Gold Gloves, 2009 American League Most Valuable Player, 4 times AL Player of the Week, 2 times AL Player of the Month. In 2019, the Twins retired his iconic number 7 for posterity. In August of 2023, he becomes a 30th member of the Twins Hall of Fame. In 2024, Joe receives 2,295 of 485 possible votes, a 76.1% clip, to earn induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. He is the only catcher in the long history of baseball to amass over 2,000 hits and carry a batting average over 300 with an OBP over 380. He holds Twin franchise records in doubles, games caught, opening day starts, and intensive walks. And he's second in franchise history in hits, games played, and walks, third in total bases. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, C-Meds of all ages, this has been the story of Joe Mauer. And when it comes to reflecting on Mauer's career, as someone who's watched him at the height of his powers and in the end when injuries forced him to retire at the age of 35, it really is two sides of the same coin with Jeff. As a catcher, he was a revolutionary, changing the position and his image into a style that had never been seen before or replicated since. As a first baseman, well, you know, he wasn't your prototype big-time slugger you usually find associated with that position, like an Albert Pujols, Miguel Cabrera, or Frank Thomas. He was Mark Grace, a solid contact hitter, still a very good ball player. I just wish his body could have held up another few years behind the dish here. It kind of reminds me of the Tim Duncan dilemma, when Duncan rolled the NBA hardwoods during his career with the San Antonio Spurs. He was originally a power forward, the Robin to David Robinson's Batman. And quite frankly, he was among some of the best power forwards to ever play, right up there with Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Kevin Garnett. The last 7-8 years of his career, the Spurs were still winning crazy games. But he manned the center position, and even though he was still a damn good player, he doesn't really rank among the all-time great centers like Hakeem Olajuwon, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, Patrick Ewing, Wilton Stillman, or Bill Russell. Still a great player, don't get me wrong, but there is a definitive difference in his value being branded as a power forward over a center. And, you know, the same logic holds true with Joe Mauer's career here as a catcher and his career as a first baseman, quite honestly. I want to thank you guys for lending me your ears this week as I climb the mount and preach the gospel that seems to this worldwide audience. It is my honor to be a fearless leader while I opine the finer nuances of the seams. Please remember to share this program with all your C-Man buddies. Leave a rating review on my performance as you see fit. And I would never charge you for the baseball content offered up here at BKP. No Patreon, no Twitch, no pay-to-play bonus shows. As Gunner has us rolling up the tracks, I can see the Joe Mauer bio getting smaller and smaller in my rearview mirror. So with that, I turn my attention to I Never Say Die Baseball Hydra. I reach under my kimono, grab my katana blade, and I chop the head off that beast, only to see 2 more baseball topics appear in its place. Next week, okay, I'm going to try something a little different next week. It's either going to be a success or an unmitigated disaster, but I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and walk the road less traveled. Fuck it. Let's get naked and see what happens. Next week, we're going to talk about one of the most important tools a young baller needs in their arsenal. Well, unless they're a pitcher, that is. But I want to take a look at the history of baseball bats. Over the centuries, baseball bats have undergone all kinds of changes and contortions to their sizes, diameters, even the species of wood used to craft a winning bat that packs a lot of punch. From the clubs used during the dead ball era of the 1800s to the torpedo bats you see floating around Major League Baseball clubhouses today. What the hell? Let's learn about bats. I've already started the research, and there's some interesting little factoids surrounding the history and evolution of baseball bats, and I hope you'll join me for that presentation. But check it out, nerds. That's another story for another pod here at Backwards K Pod, where we collect ball players and their stories. I'll be up bright and early tomorrow morning, hitting the cage, working on my craft, trying to get better. And I'll be ready to go my next schedule start. I promise, freaks. I'll try to be better next week. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless and win the day. Parents, if you see your kid sitting on the couch like I'm bored and unproductive anyhow, by all means, do yourself a favor and create some memories. Grab a couple gloves and a ball. Then take those little ragamuffins outside and play a game of catch. I'm about to pot these mics down for the week, but me and my boy Charlie Guns, we throwing our Gunnar Hendersons high in the sky, y'all. That's our number 2s, as in peace. The history of baseball bats on deck sounds interesting. Let's do this. Show number 200 next week. I could have never imagined 200 shows when I dropped Roberto Clemente 4 years ago. I love you guys. Bear love with a brother and ride this wave to the shore with me. See y'all!